Hello friends, this is part 4 of Situational Scrum Master interview questions with detailed answer from 10 real interviews given by our today's guest Priyanka Khurana. Friends, this is the fourth session with Priyanka. So if you're not seen the previous 3 sessions, please watch them as well. We have covered close to 50 to 60 commonly asked Scrum Master real life interview questions in the past. If you don't aware about it, please check the links in the description. And friends, if you're visiting our channel Career Talk first time, please do subscribe and don't forget to hit like button. Your one like is a big motivation for all of us. So let's start the session without any delay. Okay. So let's assume that you have a long-term project with 4-week sprint and you have 12 sprints. So this is your project. Now suddenly you need to complete the entire project in half the time. So within a 6 sprint.
Okay.
So what will be your approach? How you are going to approach this scenario?
So we have 4-week sprint, 12 sprints means around years of project, and later on we want to deliver this project in half the time, maybe in 6 months. We should first try to understand the reason why we are doing it, why we want to cut down the time to half. Maybe there is a competition in the market and that's why we need to do it. Maybe one of your competitor is coming up with a similar functionality just after 6 months. So we have to deliver it during that time so that the functionality we are delivering is still relevant. So there can be multiple situations why we are doing it. But if we need to do that, I think there is an iron triangle of project management, which talks about 3 constraints, which is scope, time, and budget. So here in this particular question or situation, we want to cut down the time to half. So in that case, to balance that triangle and to maintain the overall quality of the project, we have to either increase our budget by maybe we can add more resources, and that's how we can do our work. And second thing what we can do is we can reduce the scope. So if we want to deliver 10 functionalities, we can deliver 5. These are the 2 ways. We can do either one of them or both of them to deliver project in 6 months, which was originally expected to be delivered in 12 months time. Also, there is a Brooks law which says that even if we add resources, we'll not be able to deliver on time, because if new people are added into the team, communication channels will increase. We have to pass on the information to multiple people then. And if somebody new is onboarded in your project, you have to give him knowledge transfer. You have to transfer knowledge to him. He'll take his own, good time to understand the project. And that's how, even if we want to deliver it early, that would not really happen. So I think the main thing that we need to focus in this situation is to, reduce the scope. Try to deliver lesser functionality in the first go, maybe create a MVP and deliver those functionalities first, and then pass it to the production for the end users to use. And then later on in phases, we can add more functionalities and deliver it later. I think that should be the approach if we want to cut down the time to deliver something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Priyanka, for that. Okay. So next one is about change. And it's very important question that how do you think that you can or anyone can adapt to the constant changes in an organization?
Okay.
This looks pretty straightforward, but then I think it's the most difficult question.
Yeah, the simple answer could be change is the only constant thing. So we should just adapt to the change, or we are agile, we are working in an agile way, and agile manifesto says responding to change over following a plan. So anytime if a change comes in, we should be adaptive. But then there are many kind of changes in an organization. It could be change at a personal level. Maybe your immediate manager has changed, and you were working with the manager for a few years, and you shared a good bond with that manager. It was very easy to have a conversation with that manager. He understood your skill set, and maybe a example like your promotion is approaching and your manager knows your history, and he is taking it forward that the person is ready. And then your manager got a new opportunity, and now there is a new manager at that place. Now you will have to start from the beginning to create that rapport, to explain him that this is what I've done and I am looking forward for a new role. So you need to push him, and that new manager has a different leadership style. He has a different approach of working, and he may come up and say that I have a plan and we'll start from the beginning. So it's a kind of demotivated thing for us. So that could be an example of one type of change. Another could be technological change. Maybe you were working in a certain way in your organization. You were using certain tools, and then suddenly the organization decided to come up with new tools. Testing, you were doing manual testing in your projects, and now there are new tools introduced into your organization and you want to do the testing in an automated way. So it changes your entire process of doing the work, which again is a difficult thing to adapt and a lot of effort required from your side. Other could be changes at the process level. Some of your policy has been changed. Maybe your annual increment, it was given like in June. Now it'll be given in March, so it can impact a few people who joined late, or there was a work from home policy, which is again impacting right now. Many organizations have started a hybrid model after pandemic, or many organizations have started calling people back to office. So people are finding it challenging, because again, they have to come to that mode of traveling for a few hours to come up to work. They were settled in their home and they were adaptive to a particular way of working, but now they have to change that. So these can be few of the changes. Other change could be at a team level, you have been aligned to a new team, or where there are different people who are working, they have a different mindset, different way of working. So you are a Scrum Master working in one team, you have been aligned to a different team, where again, you are working as a Scrum Master, but the sprint cadence is different and they are not following Scrum at all. They are doing some ceremonies, not doing other. And again, there is something different, and you will find it some time to adapt to this. So these can be some of the changes at organization level. But I would say that if the organization apprise you or inform you about the purpose of the change, and how that change can impact you positively, and what will be the benefits that you will get by this change. Because if a change is going to happen, there could be like proper research done behind it, proper reasoning behind it. So if the audience or the employees understand the reason behind the change, it will be comparatively easy to adapt to that change. But again, one more time, change is the only constant thing and it will keep on happening. So we should have that positive mindset to adapt to those changes. Just do not keep finding faults or problems with the changes. Rather, try to pick up the positive things from that change, and now you can, grow yourself with the help of that change. Will give you a motivation to adapt to it.
Excellent. Thanks, Priyanka. Just to summarize, so there are 4 types of changes, right, which would occur in an organization, right? With people, with process, with technology, with policies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Friends, I hope you're finding this session interesting. If you're not hit like, it's a crime. Just smash that like button, okay? Okay, with this thought, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so can you able to recall any of the past incident where you had made any mistake at work and how you have reacted or what you have learned from that mistake?
As human beings, we all are prone to mistakes. We do mistakes at workplaces, and I think if we do mistake, we should be open enough, transparent enough to say that in front of your team, and being a leader in your team, you should be, you should open up your vulnerabilities in front of your team, so that it creates a positive environment, and they can sense that we can take, calculated risks, and we can work in an empirical way where we can try and experiment different things and then find out solutions. Um, Let me think of an example. So I was working as a QA in my past, and then I needed to test a particular functionality. I created a few test cases, and I tested them. They all passed, and we delivered the functionality. It went into production, but then later on there came a defect in production. We were not able to find out that problem during the original testing that we did within the sprint. And then my lead came out and asked that, hey, we had this scenario or this test case into our testing, then how come this defect is coming up now and it did not came up in future? Then I went back and checked that how that happened, even though I tested it. Then I realized that there was a particular condition that needed to be met for that scenario, which I did not do. Maybe I missed it, and that's how we were not able to identify it. So from that experience, I learned that whenever I do some work, I should ensure that I review it, and do not be just overconfident that I've done it and it should be all fine. And I being working on this thing for a few years now, it would be all good in the first attempt. So reviewing is something you should always do, because as human, we are prone to errors and we can do mistakes. And that's what I learned, and I accepted it in front of the team that, hey, I did it and I missed this point. And what I've learned is that I should review the steps, whatever I have done, so that if I have done a mistake, I can catch it early.
Great, Priyanka. I'll just also take just 2 minutes, and I'll just want to share one of the incident which had happened with me long time back. So my manager asked me to create some report, and those are like monthly report which we normally do and send it to our PM, and then he will again consolidate and then send it to further, right? And it's like a routine thing for us long time back. So and I was busy in some other task, other high priority thing which was happening at that time. So I've given that particular report, delegate that report to one of the other team member, and he just recently joined our team. And I explain him that whatever he's supposed to do, and I also gave him the last month report just to get an idea, right? And I just gave him, and I just forget. And at the end of the day, he just sent me in an email that hi Sonal, it's done. Please review. And yeah, and the mistake which I have done is I have not reviewed whatever he has done, because it's already end of the day and I was in hurry, and my manager already pinged me a couple of times, and I told him that yeah, it will be done by end of the day. So that's the only mistake which I have done, that I have just simply forwarded that email as it is to my manager without verifying whatever is there in that, right? And later on after weekend, because Monday was, he has to consolidate and he has to give it to someone else. Then we came to know when he pointed out to me that Sunan, this is the mistake, right? I mean, and then I also realized that yeah, it's a mistake because those numbers are not matching. So the lesson learned from that is that if you are accountable for certain thing,
yeah,
it's your job is to verify and validate each and everything. Delegation doesn't mean that accountability will lies to that person. Though the responsibility will be that with that person, but the accountability is with you, right? So as you mentioned, always review, validate, and just take more time. Maybe you can say that, okay, give me 1 more hour or 2 more hours. I don't want to make a mistake, right? Rather than doing something in a hurry, it's better to ask for a time and then give it the quality stuff. So that's the one of the incident just came to mind. So I just
Great
want to
example. Yeah.
share with everyone. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Okay. This one is also very interesting. I have not heard this anywhere. So this is again the new thing for us. Okay. So now your PO ask you, you are the Scrum Master, to do coding. And the scenario is you're from the development background and your two key members are on emergency leave for whatever the reason, right? So what you will do in this scenario, Priyanka? You will do start coding, or what is your thought on that?
Okay, so I'm a Scrum Master. Developers are not available for so and so reason, and PO comes and says that can you do this because we have to deliver it in the sprint. Okay, so I think as a Scrum Master, it's actually not my responsibility to do that development work. Rather, I have different set of responsibilities, but there is the situation where we want to deliver something. So I would first try to understand whether I can really do it, being not into into the development work for a few years now. Can doing this will solve the problem, or it'll add on to it? Maybe I'll introduce some more issues into the system. So I just first need to figure out that can I really do it? Or if yes, I can do it, then also I'll try to figure out other solutions which I can, do instead of, because PO is saying it, just do it. I would try to figure out, can there be other people, there other resources who can work on it? Maybe we can take some additional resources from outside, loan them for a few days, who can help us with that functionality. Or is there any other functionality we can take out from the sprint and the developers who are available can take that work? So I would try to understand what are the various options available. And if none of them works, then I would see that if this is something defect and we need to pass this functionality to production, if we do not do that, it'll create a lot of problems. So in that case, if I am in a situation and being a Scrum Master who should put multiple hats at different times, if I think I can offer something to the team, I would do that in that particular situation. But then I'll also try to figure out the consequences that is this happening? If I do it once, will my team keep coming to me that, hey, I have this development issue, or I have this problem with the code, can you help me with it? Or PO coming up to you regularly that you did it last time, it worked really fine and you were able to do it quickly, can you help us with this? So yeah, in a particular instance, maybe if that's the need of the hour, we can go ahead and do it. But again, bring it up later to the team that because of this situation, I did it, but later on, I would not encourage it. And this also requires coaching to the team and the PO that, hey, this was only the need of the hour, but in future, if such situations come, we'll have to have some other contingency plans. Maybe we can hire resources, or we can have some extra buffer capacity so that if something at home comes in, we can take up. So yeah, this would be my approach, that being a Scrum Master, I should be able to help my team, or probably help them find out some other solutions. And also try to figure out what are the consequences that would come out of that, doing things in a different way.
Excellent. Thanks, Priyanka, for that. Okay, here comes the next one. So there are situations where you need to relay the bad news to the client, right? So how you approach this kind of situation or scenarios?
Okay. Conveying the bad news is always a difficult thing to do. But if there is a situation where you want
Especially
to,
with clients.
especially with clients, that's right. So we want to convey something bad to the client and a difficult situation to the client. I think we can do a few things. For example, we should first take their permission, or maybe create that kind of background, keep setting up their mind that, hey, today in our meeting, may I have your permission to share a difficult situation with you, so that you can you can make up their mind. And also, generally people go to great length to avoid giving bad news, but it's the need of the business, it's a part of the business. If there is a bad news, we should deliver it to the client as early as possible. So if there is a situation, you see that we have our release date coming in and we have some functionality to deliver, and you see, basis your capacity of the team or basis the technical issues you are facing, that you will not be able to deliver something in the next week. So rather than delaying it and communicating it to the client on the last day, we should convey it as early as possible. And also, yeah, before that, I would say we should talk about it to your supervisor, maybe talk the situation to your manager that, hey, we are expected to deliver these 4 features, and then team is struggling with something, or there is a person who is not available due to so and so reason. He has some family issues, or his health is down, so he cannot work. And we have the situation, we feel that we might not be able to deliver something, and we want to communicate it to the client. So if you are taking it to the supervisor, maybe he can recommend you some solutions. He might have different broader vision of the things. He might have seen such situations in the past, and he can give you some solutions which even you haven't thought about, or your team did not think about such things. So he can give you some situations, or he can provide you some resources, or he can have some alternates that we can use. So first thing is that take your supervisor or manager into confidence that we are into such a situation, and we might not be able to do this thing, and we want to pass it to the client. And then start the conversation with the client. Explain him well in advance that this is the problem we are facing, and do not beat around the bush, rather come straight to the point that, hey, this is the problem, and this is the contingency plan. So we have thought of a solution. We might not be able to deliver this 4th functionality in the sprint. However, um, as soon as the next sprint starts, within 2-3 days or 4 days, we should be able to get it done, because we are trying to arrange a resource who is available and he is capable enough to deliver it, and we have that confidence. We ensure you that within next week we'll be able to get it done. So open up that kind of conversation with the client. Also ask for their opinions. If there is any suggestion from your perspective that you can share, that we can do it in this way, or maybe something can be done to resolve it. So get their confidence, keep them in loop, and communicate to them well in advance. Because ultimately, if you are conveying the information on the last stage, it will be a problem for you. It will be a problem for the person who, or the client who is at the receiving end, because he also had commitments, he also have to deliver that information to his bosses, to other people. So it is impacting business somehow. So as soon as you can deliver that, or you can at least tell the situation that this can happen and we are trying to best to do it, but there can be a situation that can happen. So even if the client wants to do something, he wants to identify something at his end, he can be in a situation to do that. So yeah, I think the crux is that we should deliver the communication as soon as possible, and deliver it clearly so that the person at the receiving it can understand it, that this is the situation and this is what we can do about it.
Excellent, Priyanka. Yeah, I think we are done for today with all the questions.
Okay.
And I think this session came out really well, Priyanka. And we will continue the series with you. I really like the way you have communicate all these questions with a lot of examples, I would say. So that's really good. So yeah, friends, with this thought, we are closing this session. Don't forget to hit like. And if you are new, please subscribe to our channel. And we will have more sessions with Priyanka in future. So with this thought, bye friends. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.